Hello and welcome to the State Draft. I am Purva Chitnis, special correspondent with ThePrint. Today in this episode of the State Draft, we will be talking about Mumbai's iconic Shivaji Park ground. Yes, that's right. The same iconic Shivaji Park ground where the god of cricket Sachin Tendulkar used to practice. So what is the history of this ground? Why is this ground so significant in Maharashtra's politics? We will discuss all of this in this episode of the State Draft. Now let's first start by understanding the history and the geography of this ground. This Shivaji Park ground is in Mumbai's Dadar area, the north of which is Mahim and south of which is Worli area. Now long back in 1896, a plague plagued the entire city of Bombay. When investigation was done, it was found out that due to poor sanitation, unhygienic condition, densely populated areas, this plague was spread across the city. And that is why at that point of time, the authorities created something called as the Bombay City Improvement Trust. Now, what is the role of this Bombay City Improvement Trust was that to create the city, to build parks, open spaces, build residential areas, which were scattered across the city. As I mentioned earlier, this Dadar area was a bridge between Mahim to the north and Worli to the south. And that is why in 1925, a park was built which was called Mahim Park. Yes, the Shivaji Park was earlier called as Mahim Park because of its proximity to the Mahim Island. But in 1927, in the tri-centenary year of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, now, as we know now today because of the historical records that Shivaji Maharaj was born in 1630, but at that point of time, it was believed that Shivaji Maharaj was born in 1627, and that is why in his 300th year of birth anniversary, people at that point of time were celebrating his tricentenary year, and one lady, a Gandhian lady, Avantika Bai Gokhale, said and demanded that Mahim Park be called as Shivaji Park to honor Shivaji Maharaj. This demand was picked up by many, and that is why in 1927, Mahim Park was renamed as Shivaji Park. And that is the Shivaji Park that we know of today. At that point of time, this park was the largest park in the city. In fact, this is about 28 acres and could hold approximately 1 lakh people. Yes, that's the approximate estimate that historians give, that this park could hold at least 1 lakh people. And at that point of time, though there were many other parks, but Shivaji Park was the largest park which could hold as many as 1 lakh people. So post-independence, when states were getting formed on the linguistic manner, we know that the Bombay Presidency, the Bombay province, was then divided into Maharashtra and Gujarat. But before that, in the 1950s, there was a movement called United Maharashtra where they wanted Mumbai to be a part of Maharashtra. The Sanyukta Maharashtra movement in the 1950s was very politically charged, and at that point of time, big leaders like Prahlad Keshav Atre, Prabodhankar Thackeray, Comrade Dange, all these leaders used to hold big meetings, and for that they chose this venue which was Shivaji Park. Because as I mentioned earlier, there were other parks in Parel and Girgaon areas, but Shivaji Park was the largest of it, and that's why it saw and witnessed many such political rallies during the Sanyukta Maharashtra movement. Now, those familiar with Maharashtra and Maharashtra politics know that Shivaji Park is the ground which is significant to Maharashtra's Shiv Sena. Now, Shiv Sena, which was born in 1966, 19 June 1966, in fact, it was born at the house of Uddhav Thackeray, the founder of Shiv Sena. But how did Shivaji Park then come into play? Why is Shivaji Park so important and significant to Shiv Sena? Even today, whenever the Dussehra rallies are to be taken place, which is the annual rally of Shiv Sena, annual public political rally of Shiv Sena, they always prefer the Shivaji Park ground. So how did Shivaji Park and Shiv Sena, this combination, come into play? Now, we spoke to Subhash Desai, one of the oldest members of Shiv Sena and senior leader of Shiv Sena, to understand what transpired in 1966. He says that on 19 June 1966, when Shiv Sena was formed, at that point of time, it was decided that there will be a big public rally which will be conducted on Dussehra in that year. For that, Shiv Sainiks were kind of deciding on what venue to choose. Many suggested that they could hold the rally in one of the halls in Dadar. But it was Bal Thackeray, the founder of Shiv Sena, who insisted that he wanted to hold this first public rally on the Shivaji Park ground. Many even advised against it, saying that if the ground is not filled, then it will not look good. The message that they want to send out will not be good. Because remember, by that time, during the Sanyukta Maharashtra movement, many political rallies took place and the ground used to be filled with people. And the ground, which is as big and accommodate 1 lakh people, that ground needed to be filled. But Bal Thackeray insisted that that point of time that he wanted to have this first public rally at Shivaji Park ground because he wanted to test his ground and wanted to see if people are actually supporting his decision to come out with a party called Shiv Sena. And then the Shiv Sena's first political rally was held on 30th October 1966 on Shivaji Park ground. Interestingly, what Desai told us is that although they wanted to hold this rally on the occasion of Dussehra, but because of some reason it was not conducted on the Dussehra, but in fact it was conducted the day after Dussehra. However, in that particular rally, what happened is that Prabodhankar Thackeray, who is Bal Thackeray's father and also a socialist reformer and who participated in Sanyukta Maharashtra movement, said, and I quote in Marathi, "Ha माझा बाळ आता मी महाराष्ट्राला अर्पण करतोय," which means this son of Thackerays is now I'm presenting it to the state of Maharashtra. And that is how, in fact, in that electrifying atmosphere, that is how Shiv Sena started conducting its political Dussehra rally, the annual political Dussehra rally on the Shivaji Park ground. Post that, it became an event that every Dussehra there will be a political rally of Shiv Sena which will be conducted on the Shivaji Park ground. It is this rally during which Bal Thackeray used to give his political message, including that of aligning with BJP or Hindutva messaging. All these big messages were given through those rallies. In fact, when Shiv Sena came to power for the first time in the state of Maharashtra in 1995 in alliance with the BJP, at that point of time, its first Chief Minister Manohar Joshi, his swearing-in was also taken place on the Shivaji Park ground. And even recently in 2019, when MVA came to power and Uddhav Thackeray was chosen as the Chief Minister of that alliance, even he chose Shivaji Park ground for his swearing-in ceremony. In fact, when Bal Thackeray decided to create Yuva Sena and launch Aditya Thackeray into politics, that also happened at one of the Dussehra rallies on Shivaji Park, where Bal Thackeray presented a sword to Aditya Thackeray, his grandson, which means that he is signaling him as his entry into politics. Also, the last speech of Bal Thackeray at the Shivaji Park ground during Dussehra, that where he was not physically present, but he has sent a video message in which he appealed to Shiv Sena that after he's gone, Shiv Sena should take care of Uddhav Thackeray and Aditya Thackeray and give both of them the same love that they give to Bal Thackeray. That emotional speech was also played out on Shivaji Park ground. And that is why Shivaji Park ground has always been an emotional ground and emotional connect within the Shiv Senics. When Meenatai Thackeray, Bal Thackeray's wife, died, there was a bust of a statue that was created at the entrance of Shivaji Park. In fact, when Bal Thackeray died, he was the first person who was cremated on the Shivaji Park ground in full public glare. That was the first time ever when a cremation took place on Shivaji Park. And that is why this ground holds emotional value amongst the Shiv Senics. In fact, a small smarak of Bal Thackeray is created at the Shivaji Park ground and a big one is coming right opposite Shivaji Park ground. So that's why we know that Shiv Senics and Shivaji Park ground has a very emotional connect and is one of the strongest bonds in the political parties in Maharashtra. Now, this was the relationship of Shiv Sena and Shivaji Park. But its breakaway faction, Maharashtra Navanirman Sena by Bal Thackeray's nephew Raj Thackeray, even amongst Manasaiks, Shivaji Park ground holds a great significance. In fact, after Shiv Sena, if there is a political party in Maharashtra that holds significance for this Shivaji Park ground, it is the MNS. In fact, when MNS was formed, its first rally was also conducted on the Shivaji Park ground. If Dussehra is equal to Shiv Sena, then Raj Thackeray chose Gudi Padwa, the Maharashtrian New Year, to address his followers as an annual event, and all those Gudi Padwa rallies of MNS also takes place on Shivaji Park. In fact, Raj Thackre's house is right opposite the Shivaji Park ground and is a stone's throw away from Shivaji Park ground. From his house, he can overlook the Shivaji Park ground. And that is why even amongst MNS people, Shivaji Park ground holds significance, and they try to send their political messages through this ground. During the Diwali festival, MNS people in fact decorate this entire ground. It is the annual function, just like their Gudi Padwa rally, that during Diwali they decorate this ground in a bid to get more brownie points amongst this voter. Now this is what about Shiv Sena and MNS and their importance of Shivaji Park ground. But what about BJP and Congress? BJP and Congress, which are probably the largest parties in the country and are the national parties, how do they see Shivaji Park ground? Shivaji Park ground, as I already had said, that it has a capacity to hold at least 1 lakh people, having seen many more rallies from BJP and Congress. In 2004, ahead of the election, Sonia Gandhi, then Congress president, was called to Mumbai, and when she was to address Congress followers, that's when Congress chose Shivaji Park ground. Of course, it was filled with people at that point of time. But if we talk about BJP, even for BJP, this ground holds importance. From Atal Bihari Vajpayee to Prime Minister Narendra Modi, all these big leaders, the tall BJP leaders, Gopinath Munde, Pramod Mahajan, used to hold their political rallies at Shivaji Park ground. PM Modi, when he was CM of Gujarat in 2003, when he was to come to Mumbai for the first time after getting elected as the CM of Gujarat in 2002, in 2003, Narendra Modi's rally in Mumbai was held at Shivaji Park ground, and at that time it was a big fanfare and the ground was filled with people. Now this has been the political significance of Shivaji Park ground. Many political parties always try to score brownie points by arranging some events or the other at the Shivaji Park ground. But Shivaji Park ground is also important for the arts and culture of Maharashtra and Mumbai. Many singers, many performers had in the past performed on this ground, and when Lata Mangeshkar, the Nightingale of India, when she died, after Bal Thackeray, she became the second person to be cremated in full public glare on this ground. This ground is of course there for sports and for budding sports person. This ground caters to different kind of sports personalities and also to our various performers. But Shivaji Park ground has always held importance in different political parties, and for them, their vote bank. And this Dadar area, which is predominantly Maharashtrian and has Marathi vote bank, that is why Shiv Sena, MNS, BJP tries to score over each other and try to hold political rallies on the Shivaji Park ground. This has been the history, the geography and the importance of Shivaji Park ground. Do tell us, what do you think about Shivaji Park ground if you have any memories of that ground? That's all we have for you in this episode of The State Draft. Do tune in for more such episodes.